Brandon Aiyuk has requested a trade from the 49ers, according to multiple reports.
Wide receiver Brandon Aiyuk has requested a trade.
My apologies to you guys for being so late on this. This is technically a day late, but with Skip Bayless making that huge announcement that he did yesterday, on top of my evil twin brother covering what he needs to cover on the Flight Mike basketball channel, we've been a little swamped over here. But this is still a significant piece of news on Brandon Aiyuk, and it's very interesting because we now know what the San Francisco 49ers plan is for Brandon Aiyuk. They officially made their decision. So before we get to the content, we are still giving away copies of College Football 25. All you have to do to enter is follow me on Instagram or Twitter. And be careful, guys, because I've noticed that there's a bot going into my comment section saying people have won, which is why I stopped doing these giveaways originally, because things like this ruin it for everyone else. So if you do win, I'll either DM you on Twitter or on Instagram. And now that we got all that out of the way, break! Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? You guys already know that Brandon Aiyuk immediately cooked up a plan to try to get paid the moment that the Super Bowl ended. I mean, literally, the very moment it ended, Brandon Aiyuk reacted this way.
Brandon, what do you remember most about this particular roster, this cap season? Just some fucking, I was just screw up the using shipping things. Guys that came in that were bending that to be champions Edson Bay.
When Brandon Aiyuk asked if he was staying with the 49ers, this is what he said.
It's your hope to remain with the 49ers moving forward? That's where I'm going, I don't remember it was. What would that route look like? I know it's going to be the champion. Yeah, he's happy.
But the entire Aiyuk gang wasted no time in letting the 49ers know that if Brandon Aiyuk doesn't get paid, then they're going to leave San Francisco.
Okay, this might have been the last day we touched foot on Levi Stadium, me and Braylon, because we might not be out here next season.
And to be honest, I guess as a football fan, you could say that the impact of this announcement wasn't as strong as other trade demands. I mean, it seemed like from the very beginning, they were doing everything they possibly could to get Brandon Aiyuk paid. I mean, one of his friends said, "This is the exact reason why we're leaving San Francisco. Thank you, 49ers, for drafting my brother. We are forever grateful. BA to Vegas. Why does your all-pro 1,300-yard receiver have 3 catches in the Super Bowl?" Brandon Aiyuk would also post on his IG story, "Don't forget what got you there." This is literally days after losing the Super Bowl, and it would intensify throughout the offseason. You see, I can understand making these requests immediately after the Super Bowl, because that is when the 49ers could most likely give you what you need. If the San Francisco 49ers paid Brandon Aiyuk at the time that he was complaining about his contract the moment the Super Bowl ended, or the moment the new league calendar year started, rather, which was way later, then Brandon Aiyuk would have been seeking something around $28 to $29 million a year annually. The 49ers wouldn't pay him because he would not beat Tyreek Hill's $30 million yearly contract. He just wasn't that caliber of player. And in these types of negotiations, typically players are trying to reset the market, and only the best players at the position, at least at the wide receiver position, have the ability to do such a thing. The quarterback position's a completely different story. If you're a former #1 overall pick, or if you had a prolific season at all whatsoever, you're getting paid no matter what. But at the wide receiver position, it's a little bit different. A good example of this is the next player to slightly reset the wide receiver market was Amon-Ra St. Brown. Without a doubt, a top 5 wide receiver in the NFL, but he only slightly reset the wide receiver market before AJ Brown came in and beat that contract as well. Before you knew it, Justin Jefferson completely reset the market, and rightfully so, because in my opinion, he is the best wide receiver in the NFL. So I can understand why Brandon Aiyuk wanted to get paid at that time, and if you're the San Francisco 49ers, that's the best time to pay him. But there's a lot more dominoes to fall. You see, the 49ers actually entertained shopping Brandon Aiyuk. And of course, they're not going to admit to it now, but the problem was that they didn't get the value that they wanted for him. They wanted to trade Brandon Aiyuk for a first-round pick. A legitimate argument could be made that Brandon Aiyuk is worth a first-round pick, considering the fact that he's 26 years old and has been improving each and every season as a wide receiver for the 49ers. 49ers. Not only did he gain more than 1,000 yards receiving in both last year and the year before, but he became an all-pro this past year as well. And each and every year, at least in terms of receiving numbers, he's been improving slightly. This, coupled with the fact that he's one of the best blocking wide receivers in the NFL, makes him a truly unique talent. Things would escalate eventually, with John Lynch saying that the 49ers are actively talking with Aiyuk and that there have been no trade discussions, and that Lynch would be okay with Aiyuk playing on the 5th-year option. Meanwhile, Brandon Aiyuk posted this picture in a sauna. Money talks, bullshit walks. The rest of the offseason would get more and more juvenile. Brandon Aiyuk would follow suit in what every athlete does whenever he wants either a new contract or a change of scenery. He would eventually unfollow the 49ers, eerily reminiscent of what Deebo Samuel did 2 off seasons ago, before throwing a tantrum on social media saying this.
Bro, look in the cam, bro. Flip the cam.
He got me vlogging this shit.
Bro, what?
What happened, bro?
They said they don't want me back. I swear.
And to be clear, the 49ers have been very interested in bringing Aiyuk back, but what complicated things was the fact that Justin Jefferson, AJ Brown, Jalen Waddle, Devontae Smith, and Amon-Ra St. Brown all got brand new contracts since then, which means that Brandon Aiyuk is asking for even more money from the 49ers now, which brings us to where we are currently. You see, the San Francisco 49ers have definitely been playing games with their wide receiver room, drafting Ricky Pearsall with their first round pick in the 2024 NFL draft. But the thing is, on paper, it may seem like the 49ers drafted Pearsall in order to move on from Brandon Aiyuk. In reality, they're probably drafting Pearsall so they could move on from Deebo Samuel. You see, while Deebo Samuel did sign a contract extension in the 2022 offseason, his cap hit balloons to $28.6 million this year. This combined with the fact that Deebo Samuel isn't the player he was back then for the 49ers right now, completely shifts who the 49ers would rather keep and who would they prefer to trade. I'm not saying Deebo Samuel's a bad player by any means, but what I will say is he peaked at the perfect time. During the 2021 season, the 49ers didn't have Christian McCaffrey, so they used Deebo Samuel as a running back, or at the time he was referred to as a wide back. He had over 1,400 yards receiving to go with 365 yards rushing, had injury issues the next year, and this past year he almost gained 1,000 yards receiving, and he did go over 1,000 all-purpose yards. Regardless, the 49ers haven't been leaning on Deebo nearly as much. He's mainly out there more in a decoy role. I mean, whenever you fake the jet sweep to Deebo Samuel and you hand it off to Christian McCaffrey on an inside zone, it's all the more effective. And when you have George Kittle or Brandon Aiyuk blocking for you, or a threat of a Brock Purdy play action pass, you can understand why the 49ers offense is so successful. But Brandon Aiyuk doesn't care about this. As a matter of fact, yesterday, Brandon Aiyuk officially requested a trade with the 49ers after an offseason of unsuccessful attempts to reach an extension. Despite a recent meeting, the Niners haven't been willing to engage in negotiations since May, so Aiyuk has respectfully asked out. And this is where a war is about to brew, ladies and gentlemen, because while Brandon Aiyuk may have demanded a trade from the 49ers, this isn't the first time the 49ers have been in a situation like this. So, according to Adam Schefter, other teams that have reached out and spoken to San Francisco have been told that the 49ers have no intention of trading disgruntled wide receiver Brandon Aiyuk, who officially has requested a trade. The 49ers open training camp next week. Schefter reminds us that this has happened in the past. 49ers have had players such as Deebo Samuel and Robbie Gould also request trades before reaching deals with both players. The 49ers intend to keep Brandon Aiyuk and not trade him. And Josina Anderson even went into detail. I mean, I'm told within the last couple of weeks, the Patriots reached out to the 49ers inquiring about wide receiver Brandon Aiyuk again, and were told that the talented wide receiver was not being traded at the time, per source. And so what I am expecting to happen from here is very simple, guys. Expect the San Francisco 49ers to hold on to Brandon Aiyuk. Either these two come to terms on a contract contract extension, or Brandon Aiyuk's just going to play on a 5th year. After this 5th year, if the 49ers can't agree to a contract extension with him again, he's going to get franchise tagged. So Aiyuk has significantly less leverage than he truly thinks, because if he gets franchise tagged, the next time he's going to hit the market is during his age 28 season. And I'm not saying he can't get paid big money then. The wide receiver market should certainly inflate by then, but the 49ers could also franchise tag him yet again. And at that point, if Brandon Aiyuk turns 29 without a big contract, first of all, that'd be significant, and I don't think we're going to see that happen. But bear in mind, Brandon Aiyuk is an older wide receiver. And while waiting could definitely get him paid more, especially when CeeDee Lamb gets paid, at some point or another, he needs to realize that he doesn't 100% have leverage over the 49ers. I think the 49ers are going to play this out, wait until they trade away Deebo Samuel, and then pay Brandon Aiyuk what he wants. But if you're a 49ers fan, let me know in the comment section down below. How do you guys see this playing out? Aside from that, Skip Bayless got fired. I don't know if you guys have heard of this. It's absolute insanity. One of the biggest legends in sports is officially gone. We have a whole video on it. I'll meet you guys over there and leave a link in the end screen. Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike. I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.